You wake up in a room. You've been here 15 years. No trial, no explanation. Just walls and a television that tells you the world kept spinning without you. Then one day, the door opens. Freedom, right? Wrong. You're still trapped, just in a bigger cell. Welcome to Oldboy. Welcome to your life. Welcome to Sisyphus's mountain. Oh Dae-su didn't know why he was locked away. That's the thing about punishment in its purest form. It doesn't require understanding. One moment you're drunk, making phone calls, being a bit of an arse. The next, you're in a private prison for a decade and a half, and the universe offers exactly 0 explanations. Sound arbitrary? That's because it is. Sisyphus didn't get a fair trial either. The gods just decided he was too clever, too defiant, and sentenced him to eternal labor. Push the boulder up, watch it roll down, repeat until the heat death of the universe. But here's where it gets properly uncomfortable. Oh Dae-su gets out. He thinks he's escaped. He thinks he's going to solve the mystery, get his revenge, reclaim his stolen years. Every step forward feels like progress. He's gathering clues, tracking down his captor, getting closer to answers. Except he's not. He's dancing exactly as choreographed. His captor, Lee Woo-jin, has turned vengeance itself into a prison. Every choice Oh Dae-su makes only tightens the chains. He thinks he's climbing the mountain, when really he's just pushing the boulder in circles. The film forces you to watch as Oh Dae-su's desperation escalates. He pulls out his own teeth. He fights his way through corridors of men with nothing but a hammer and deteriorating sanity. He falls in love without knowing he's committing the ultimate transgression. And when the truth finally lands, when he discovers he's been manipulated into an incestuous relationship with his own daughter, the boulder doesn't just roll back down, it crushes him entirely. What's gutting about Oldboy isn't just the plot twist. It's that the revenge doesn't end anything. Woo-jin gets his payback and immediately shoots himself. Oh Dae-su gets his answers and begs to have his memory erased. The hypnotist splits his mind in two. The daughter never learns the truth but senses something fundamentally broken. Everyone's imprisoned by the vengeance cycle. Everyone's pushing their own boulder. The man who sought freedom ends up more trapped than when he started, now carrying the weight of a truth too horrible to bear, but too embedded to fully forget. Camus wrote that we must imagine Sisyphus happy. But can you imagine Oh Dae-su happy? Can you imagine yourself happy, when every action you take might just be another rotation of a wheel you don't control? The film's final shot is deliberately ambiguous. Oh Dae-su either remembers or he doesn't. Either way, he's smiling through tears. That's not resolution. That's the face of someone who's realized the game never ends, and the only choice left is how you wear your chains. Let's talk about that boulder for a moment. Sisyphus was punished for cheating death twice. He was clever enough to outsmart the gods, arrogant enough to think he could escape his fate entirely. So they gave him a task that embodies futility itself, endless effort with no achievement, eternal labor with no rest. The boulder reaches the top and immediately rolls back down, not because Sisyphus fails, but because that's what boulders do. That's what existence does. Camus looked at this myth and saw something radical. He argued that Sisyphus represents the human condition perfectly. We're all pushing boulders. We wake up, go to work, come home, sleep, and do it again. We build relationships that end. We pursue goals that ultimately don't matter. We create meaning in a universe that's fundamentally indifferent to whether we exist at all. And Camus says, imagine him happy. Imagine Sisyphus owns his boulder. Imagine he finds rebellion in the simple act of continuing. But Oldboy asks a darker question. What if you didn't choose your boulder? What if someone else placed it in your hands and you didn't even realize you were pushing it? Oh Dae-su thought he was a victim seeking justice. He didn't know he was an actor in someone else's revenge play, performing exactly as scripted. His boulder wasn't assigned by indifferent gods. It was crafted specifically, personally, by someone who wanted him to suffer in the most intimate way possible. In 2026, we're all performing in scripts we didn't write. Social media algorithms feed us content designed to keep us scrolling, pushing that boulder of engagement up the infinite hill of our feeds. Consumer culture tells us the next purchase will bring satisfaction, while we're already planning the purchase after that. Work demands productivity that never translates to security. We're Oh Dae-su thinking we're making choices, while something else holds the remote control. The psychological toll is identical. Oh Dae-su's years in captivity hollow him out. When he eats a live octopus, it's not just revenge plot drama. It's a man so disconnected from normal human behavior that consuming a living thing becomes casual. Sisyphus pushes his boulder until the lines between himself and the task blur entirely. He becomes the boulder pusher, identity absorbed by punishment. We become our jobs, our routines, our digital personas. The erosion of self isn't dramatic. It's gradual, repetitive, almost imperceptible, until you look up one day and barely recognize who's looking back. But here's what keeps me up at night. Both narratives suggest the punishment might be for nothing. Sisyphus transgressed, sure, but does any crime deserve eternal torture? Oh Dae-su's teenage self gossiped about a relationship, and 15 years later, he's paying in ways that destroy multiple lives. The punishment vastly exceeds any reasonable crime, which means the punishment isn't about justice. It's about power. It's about control. It's about reminding you that you're not in charge of your own story. The existential crisis isn't that life is hard. It's that life might be meaningless repetition dressed up as purpose. We push boulders and call it ambition. We suffer cycles and call it character development. We're trapped in loops and call it routine. The question isn't whether we can escape. It's whether we were ever free to begin with. So what now? Oh Dae-su chooses hypnosis, a desperate attempt to rewrite his own mind. Sisyphus has no such option. He just keeps pushing. Maybe that's the point. Maybe freedom isn't escaping the boulder. Maybe it's pushing it anyway, but making it yours. Your boulder, your mountain, your absurd defiance against a universe that never asked if you wanted to exist. In 2026, your boulder might be student debt, climate anxiety, or the feeling that nothing you do matters. Push it anyway. Not because it'll reach the top and stay there, but because the pushing itself becomes the meaning. We must imagine ourselves happy,